Welcome to the latest edition of Bitcoin and Altcoins Unfiltered. Here we examine what's actually happening in the cryptocurrency marketplace. We're actually taking a look at, first of all, what's actually happening with some of the worst Bitcoin losses ever in quite some time. We're actually seeing some significant trimming of market cap, not only in the realm of Bitcoin, but also Ethereum and Cardano and Polkadot and many other cryptocurrencies that we monitor every single day. We are extremely concerned, but we're going to take a closer look at the market, what's actually happening with Bitcoin prices, with analysis of the movement of the market, and we're also going to look at what's actually happening as far as China and the removal of Bitcoin miners in the region of Sichuan and Xinjiang, and what will actually happen going forward. We've actually seen significant drop in hash rates across many of the Bitcoin mining pools, and that is cause for alarm because that will mean that we actually see that there's going to be a significant problem as far as ongoing processing of transactions. We're also looking at what's actually happening with the adoption of El Salvador, and there are other countries, not only in Central America, but also South America, who are actually looking at Bitcoin adoption. So that's going to be very important. And we'll also talk in this episode as far as increased users among in Coinbase, which is very, very favorable for the cryptocurrency marketplace. And we'll also take a look at what will actually be happening with the DeFi marketplace, also with increased revenue in the region of the DeFi, decentralized finance market ecosystem, most notably with crypto coins such as Aave, Compound, and Maker actually making increased strides with higher TVLs, total value locked in their ecosystem. So there's a lot happening in the Bitcoin and altcoin unfiltered marketplace, and we try to break everything down for you here at BioNews Network through our series Bitcoin and Altcoins Unfiltered. So stay tuned. We'll take a look at the market, let's take a look at the latest news, and also we want to make a few recommendations for Bitcoin miners looking out there for renewable sources of energy, as far as less political climate, as far as restrictions, as well as increased likelihood of adoption of Bitcoin, because ultimately by adding more users, whether they're institutional or retail investors and users, means that it's increased adoption, and that's going to be favorable for the long term for Bitcoin. So we will take a closer look. Here we go. Thank you. Yes, here we are at BioNews Network, and we are actually working on taking a closer look at this very volatile market. We have been quite concerned about the direction of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies over the past few days. We've seen some major market losses, significant trimming of market cap across the board, whether it's Ethereum, Bitcoin, Cardano, Polygon, Polkadot, Chainlink, any of the top 10 cryptocurrencies have seen a tremendous amount of trimming of market cap. But hopefully with more positive news is that we do see some recovery. We can see that prices are actually gone up. The Bitcoin actually dipped below 30,000 only a few hours ago, and now it's actually starting a positive recovery into the 33,000 per BTC range. We do see that downward trend as far as taking a look at the market and the direction of the prices, the highs and the lows, and it is cause for alarm. Before we get any further into Bitcoin and altcoins unfiltered, we do want to make sure that you understand that we are not financial advisors. Everything provided in these videos is purely for educational and entertainment purposes only. If you do need to make an investment and you do need advice, then you should seek a professional and certified financial planner. So with that, out of the way, let's get back to just taking a closer look at the direction of the market. We can see that downward trend as far as plotting on our graph here, and we do see that there's quite a little bit of significant amount of recovery that has to go in order to get back to the days when we were at 40,000 per Bitcoin, 42,000 per Bitcoin, 44,000 per Bitcoin. But most of those investors, including myself, anticipated some kind of correction that was going to occur in June and July. And if you're not able to stomach the volatility of the cryptocurrency marketplace, then you should not be investing or even thinking about investing your money in this marketplace, as exciting as it is. It's definitely very, very volatile. But we do see some really positive news all across the world as far as adoption of Bitcoin. Many nations, especially in Latin America and Central America, we're going to cover that extensively, are actually looking for avenues of adoption for Bitcoin, and that's going to increase the likelihood of increased usership. And there's also a lot of really good news as far as other cryptocurrencies that are going to add users and developers to their mainnet as we go forward. One of the main things that we do want to take a look at also is, as we already know, most of this trimming has a lot to do with the news of China cutting back on Bitcoin miners. And with that said, one of the main options that is going to be good for Bitcoin going forward is the option of taking advantage of renewable energies, whether it's going to be renewable energy sources such as geothermal, which is an option for those who live in El Salvador, or it's going to be hydropower, and there are many different countries that offer hydropower, but other options too for clean renewable sources of energy is going to be wind energy, and we are very big fans of solar and wind energy. We do feel that with increased adoption of Bitcoin, it's going to increase the opportunities that are going to be available for the industries of solar energy as well as wind power. And there's some really exciting news that's actually occurring in this field as far as renewable energy. We can take a look at some of the benefits. We anticipate that Bitcoin will explode from incentives to boost solar, wind, and hydropower. We're seeing the beginning of a true big push towards Bitcoin being used as an accelerator to incentivize the development of these renewable sources. There are many states across this great nation that have already are in the zone of arriving at generating 25% to 30% of their total electric needs from wind power and solar power, solar energy, and these are sustainable. They're clean, renewable, and as the battery capacities increase to be able to store the energy, we are looking at many of the states across the United States, Iowa, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, as exceeding 50% or more by 2030 their capacity as far as serving their total electric needs with renewable energy sources. So this actually is great news for Bitcoin miners to get their hash rates back up. Wind power is a clean and renewable fuel source. And we are continuing to increase our capacity across the board in many states such as Texas as well as Iowa and Oklahoma. We can take a look at some of the technology, and it is beautiful simply to watch here. And this is actually here in the beautiful plains of Colorado, large wind turbines actually harnessing the power of the wind. This actually could be a Bitcoin solution down the road, not only as far as Bitcoin becoming an accelerator of this technology, but also increasing the number of high-paying jobs in these states, as well as increasing the economy and overall GDP of many of these states. China. Possibly it's might be a silver lining and exploring other options as far as solar energy and wind power going forward. So we just wanted to make sure that this is actually explained in a little bit more detail as far as the options for increased capacity for increasing the gigawatt capacity by using wind power and solar energy going forward. As we look a little bit closer at the market, we can see that one of the main things we're concerned about too is going to be that downward direction. But we do see that recovery actually making its way back up, and we anticipate that going forward in the next month or so, we do see positive signs as far as what's going to be happening for the acceleration of the Bitcoin marketplace, recovering some of the market cap that is lost not only by Bitcoin but also other altcoins that are actually a byproduct of losses that may be seen in a Bitcoin ecosystem. So one of the things we like to do also is just take a closer look at what's happening on Twitter. You can follow us at Bao News Network on Twitter, and we are looking at the China crackdown, of course, the adjustments of Ether as far as being in the between 1900 and 2000, which is really, really low. We are investors in not only Bitcoin but also Ethereum and many other altcoins. So as far as the loss of hash rates is concerned, we are very concerned, and but we do see that there's a silver lining, because as a majority of those Bitcoin miners, up to 50% of the Bitcoin mining was actually being done in China. Actually, as they make their way out of China into possibly countries adjacent in the EU, or even outside of Europe, possibly returning or coming to United States. We'll explore hopefully the avenues in the region of renewable energy for wind and solar here in the United States. So let's take a closer look at what's actually happening with the latest in Bitcoin news. So with the blockchain news, we're taking a look at several headlines right now. And one of the main headlines we're looking at is Brazil Stock Exchange lists first Bitcoin ETF in Latin America. This is really huge because there's a big push in Latin America right now for the adoption of Bitcoin, and ETFs will actually increase the availability and the access to retail as well as institutional investors to the cryptocurrency marketplace, and it increases the avenue of education also. We also see in the region of El Salvador that Bitcoin is becoming legal tender there. Bitcoin has actually captured its first country, we hope, and most are saying that the volatility of Bitcoin makes it unsuitable for legal tender in the region of El Salvador, which has a population of about 6.5 million people, and it primarily uses US dollars. It is independent and sovereign and uses a US dollar instead of its own currency, but with that said, El Salvador doesn't necessarily print its own money. It doesn't really see the benefit of money creation because it's a dollarized economy, mostly pegged to the US dollar. And they borrow and they earn and they receive most of their GDP inflows from remittance from the El Salvadoran diaspora all around the world that send money back to relatives. So that is, and that's the same with the Caribbean and most of Central America, as far as the increase of inflow dollars into the region. There are many positive advantages to pegging this dollarized economy to the Bitcoin blockchain. It will open up liquidity for banking. One of the ideas that they're looking at as far as ensuring liquidity is to have a $150 million trust fund that will allow citizens throughout El Salvador to enjoy the benefits of Bitcoin. But should that trust fund be diluted by any kinds of crashes in the Bitcoin marketplace, then of course this may deplete the fund very, very quickly. But they're seeking the advice of the best Bitcoin experts to see how Bitcoin can be adopted in the small nation of 7 million people. There are many risks, but there are many rewards, and we can see as far as a silver lining ahead of us, as far as this being the first major country to actually adopt Bitcoin and to actually see what will actually happen as far as increasing the prosperity of the El Salvadorians as well as adjoining nations. There are quite a few nations in Central America that have their economy that's dollarized and pegged to the US dollar. So this is great news for the Bitcoin marketplace. So we're definitely excited about what's actually happening with respect there. And back stateside, the SEC has delayed a decision on the Valkyrie Bitcoin ETF for some time, I believe, in August. And it's been ongoing as far as a delay there, but we will continue to monitor the news bits as far as what's actually happening here in the United States as far as establishment of our own ETF, Bitcoin ETF here in the United States. So as far as going forward with news of Bitcoin, we will continue to monitor what's actually happening with the market. We see the trimming as far as the market right now. We can hopefully hope that going forward it will be an ongoing recovery. We'll start making up market cap that has been lost over the last few days. It's been very, very stressful for myself as well as investors alike. Actually taking a closer look at what's actually happening within this ecosystem as cryptocurrencies. While it's very exciting, there's a lot of volatility, and it's just an element and dimension of this marketplace that we all have to bear as far as going forward for the future. But with that said, there is a future for Bitcoin. Many Bitcoin experts feel that the solution to the mining and reducing the carbon footprint will be the exploration of using renewable sources of energy. It's even got to the point where the mayor of Miami is now inviting Bitcoin miners to come to South Florida simply because of the availability of cheap energy from the Florida Power and Light nuclear reactors that provide electricity for Floridians. Most of the electricity that is provided to Floridians comes from natural gas, but they do get quite a bit of relatively high percentage of their electricity from their FPNL nuclear reactors. So nuclear power is on the table. Well, hopefully they'll actually seek solar energy as well as wind power and hydropower, geothermal power, wherever it is available, and for as options for mining and seeing what's going to be happening as far as going forward. But here at Bar News Network, we're very, very pro and bullish on solar energy, as well as we're bullish on wind power and even hydropower too whenever it's available. And then nuclear option will be a last option. Possibly if the safety standards are improved with lithium, the lithium fluoride, lithium thorium fluoride reactors, then that will be possibly an option as far as looking towards thorium as a possible fuel for the latest and greatest and most advanced nuclear reactors that are not only safe but highly efficient to provide safe nuclear energy for Bitcoin miners all around the world. And as we shift away from uranium to thorium,
then that may be an option too, as far as advancements in the field of nuclear energy. But here at New Bound News Network, we will continue to monitor crypto marketplace, and we'll get back to you with the latest information, latest headlines, also the evolution of the energy solutions for this marketplace. Also, we thank all of our subscribers to tuning in to this latest edition of Bitcoin and Altcoins Unfiltered. Make sure you smash that like button if you were able to take away from and learn anything from this video and it was beneficial to you. Share it with friends and family, and then also smash that notification bell. We do appreciate all of you, and thank you so much for watching Bound News Network and our latest edition of Bitcoin and Altcoins Unfiltered. And here we go with just a little bit soothing music from our wind turbines.